Also, a lot of people, I think we did too, would put their butter in a mesh bag or something like that and drop it into the cistern to keep it cool.
Hmm.
And we bought butter from Ivan Phillips's family. Ivan, who ran IGA up here.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a little kid then, a bashful little boy. He'd deliver our butter to us. And his mother would make it with a mold. It was a round thing with a design on the top of it. It was a mold. And I remember helping Grandma Griesenar churn butter too. She would do it. And we thought that was fun, of course, to do it. If we didn't have to do it, it was fun. And she had a butter churn that we would, when we were visiting in the summer, we would help her churn butter. It wasn't quite as easy as it is now. Just going to the store and buying what you want. You did a lot of it yourself. And you ate quite differently. Of course, my dad always worked pretty hard, so we would have big breakfast every morning. We would have either pancakes or biscuits or cornbread, plus bacon and eggs, and quite often fried potatoes. All that stuff that is not good for you now. But Dad lived to be 86 years old.
Yeah. Of course, get a lot more exercise than most people do
That's
these
right.
days.
That's right. They worked. That was the difference.
Yeah.
They were physically active. And then, let's see. I was trying to think of when we were teenagers. There was dances around we would go to. There was a dance platform out. It was called Salt Lick. It was to the east of town, and they'd have a band every Sunday, and we'd try to get to that dance. If somebody had a date, they were very apt to have 3 or 4 extra girls with them. And
remember what type of music they played, or what type of instruments that the band had?
well, it was more waltz type music, not the. Well, no, we did we did things like the jitterbug and the Charleston too. So yeah, we had fast music too, I guess.
They had trumpets and stuff like that.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Used to have piano, drums.
Yeah, piano and clarinet, cornet,
Yeah.
and sometimes a trombone, drums.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Missourians was one of our favorite bands. There was one other one we liked. I don't remember what it was. And then in the winter time, what did they call that? There was a building with an upstairs where they had dances. And the downstairs was not exactly a tavern, but something like it. They'd have some food and drinks. And upstairs we'd dance. And then Assumption had dances up here too.
How'd you get there?
Well, my
Your
hook or
boyfriends
crook.
didn't.
Well, before we were.
Teenagers didn't have cars, I don't think, did they?
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
had
they did?
cars. Oh yeah,
But the teenagers had them too?
from yeah, we always had cars. The only time I remember riding in a horse and buggy was when this Aunt Annie took us for a ride, just Dorothy and I, just to give us a ride. She got a horse and buggy from somebody and took us for a ride. And we had cars, like Model A's, Fords. Loretta Taki and I went with the Goldner twins, and they had a little yellow, I guess it was a Ford, with a rumble seat. That was interesting too. Whichever, she went with Clarence and I went with Glennon. And whoever drove sat in the front. The girl sat in the front and the other one sat in the rumble seat. And that little yellow car we thought it was really something. And we walked a lot too. We didn't drive every place we went. And we'd go around to different houses. When I was like in 8th grade or so, we started going around with boys and girls together, but not really pairing off too much. But we'd go to somebody's house, quite often to Mildred Westhoff's, because she didn't have any brothers or sisters to get in the way. Paul was already older and married, and we'd be home by 8 o'clock at night probably. We'd go play some card games or spin the bottle or something. And then when we got older, but they always had cars of some sort. It was Ford touring cars, and we'd pile as many as could get in the car. It was not very safe, I don't imagine. But then the cars didn't go very fast either.
Did you start working when you were a teenager?
I worked as a telephone operator one summer. You won't believe this. I got 10 cents an hour. But I worked in the evening, and sometimes I wouldn't have half a dozen calls all evening. And then I'd have to sleep overnight there too, in case somebody wanted to call through the night.
Oh. Was it that far away? Where was it?
No, it was right up on Main Street.
Hmm.
And I only did that for a short time. Even then, 10 cents an hour was not enough. And then I took care of 3 little girls. I only went to 2 years high school. Mom got sick, and I had to stay home.
What'd she get
She ended
sick?
up with an operation, so and then by that time the kids I had gone to school with were 2 grades ahead of me, and I didn't ever go back. So I started. I worked in St. Charles for this woman. Her husband was away all week, and she worked in a shoe factory or something down there. And I stayed at her house and took care of these 3 little preschool kids and did the cooking. And I'd stay overnight too. And I'd come back on Friday night and spend the weekend at home. And I made $4 a week.
Hmm.
But I gave Mom $1 every week, not knowing that she'd put it away for me when I got married. She handed it to me. But we could buy a dress for $2, a pair of shoes for $1. You know, prices were so different that it was, some people worked for as little as $3 a week. I remember Loretta Taki worked at this one place for $3 a week. And then, let's see, and I worked at Hetty Hotel. That's where I met Tom. Was that all right to go into that for?
Well, let's say Irene got married first, right? And then you were the next one to get married?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years later.
10 years later.
Yeah, she was married in 29, I was married in 39. Of
Hmm.
course, she was, 18 or 19 when she got married, and I was 24.
Yeah.
And
It
it was during the Depression, and
we have 2 minutes before the tape runs out. So, so we can start it, but we'll have to continue it.
It was during the Depression, and people, you just didn't have money enough to get married, and nobody did.
Oh, where were you? Where were you working at?
Hetty Hotel in Wentzville.
And that was in Wentzville.
And Mrs. Hetty had a hotel, and then she had a bus station, and that was a lot of mine. It was take care of the people coming checking into the hotel and taking care of the bus station. And that's and Tom stayed there. Stayed at the hotel. He had moved out there and was starting a radio shop in Wentzville, and he was rooming at the hotel. And one night, a woman got off the bus, and she wanted to go to New Melle, and she asked if I could get her a ride. So Tom was sitting in the lobby, and I said, "Would you take her out to New Melle?" And he said, "Well, I will if you'll ride along."
Mm-hmm.
So that was the
Sounds
beginning.
Like,
I stayed friendly with Loretta Gilbert when she and Roger were married. I was in their wedding. When Marie was married, I was in her wedding, and then vice versa, they were in my wedding. And we were always close friends. Marie and I still are. Loretta's gone, of course.
well, we'll start back up with pictures of the wedding and
Okay.
any that you have prior to that of Dad. I don't know if you do or not.
Hmm?
Do you have any pictures of Dad before you got married? Probably. Probably not.
Are we off?
All right, so we got less than a minute, so.